We are going to have a final from the Plains. The final score of the Auburn Tigers LSU game is 48-11 for the Auburn Tigers. And Auburn fans, I have to give you guys an apology because I came out in my weekly picks and predictions video. If you don't watch those, definitely subscribe for those. I put them out every week and give you my best input on who I think is going to win each SEC game. I picked LSU here, even though I say constantly that the SEC and really all conferences, every single game is favoring the home team. Even though it's not a full capacity game, every game is favoring the home team. And I decided to pick against that. The LSU Tigers beat my Gamecocks pretty good last week. And I was like, you know what, TJ Finley's rolling. This LSU defense is starting to figure themselves out. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to go LSU in this game. I think that they have the talent to win this game. And boy, oh boy, was I wrong. Bo Nix has a really good game for the Auburn Tigers. Just this whole offense and especially the defense for Auburn just stepped up today and had an absolutely amazing game. 48-11 against LSU. That is a pretty convincing win. And is Auburn back? Is this Auburn team that we saw lose to South Carolina a couple weeks ago have a rough game? The team that almost lost to Arkansas, which many people think, if you go into the rule books, that they should have lost. Who else did Auburn lose to? They lost to Georgia. Has this team turned around? Has this team turned a new quarter? Is Bo Nix starting to play a better role at quarterback? It's certainly looking like it after this game. So let's just take a look at some of the stats. Bo Nix passing today, 18 for 24, 299 yards, 3 touchdowns. I'm pretty sure he got pulled in the third quarter, which is what you love to see from your quarterback, him getting pulled in the third quarter because he's playing so well. Not because he's playing terrible, but he's playing so well and you don't want to risk him getting injured. Grant Loy came in after. He didn't throw any completions, went 0 for 2, but he was more of just there to manage the clock and everything, hand the ball off so Bo doesn't get hurt. TJ Finley, the starting quarterback for LSU today, had a rough game. He went 13 for 24, 143 yards and 2 interceptions. Obviously not what we saw from that South Carolina game, the same TJ Finley here. Max Johnson came in after, went 15 for 24 for 172 yards and 1 touchdown. Finley did not throw any touchdowns, only 2 interceptions. Rushing, Bo Nix was the leading rusher for this Auburn rushing game. He had 11 carries for 81 yards and 1 touchdown. And then, of course, next up, a guy that I'm not a big fan of because he didn't choose South Carolina, because the battle was between South Carolina and Auburn for his recruiting battle, but this guy is an amazing player nonetheless. Tank Bigsby, 15 carries for 71 yards and 2 touchdowns. Probably the biggest freshman impact so far for Auburn this year. I've watched a couple Auburn games and everyone's been talking about Tank Bigsby. That's all the commentators seem to be talking about, is how good Tank Bigsby is going to be for this Auburn Tigers team. The battle between Seth Williams and Derek Stingley was amazing today. You saw that play on the goal line. Williams makes the catch, but then Stingley knocks it out and is able to force the touchback, and I'm pretty sure Williams had another nice play against Stingley. Great matchup there. The receiving stats for Auburn went 4 receptions for 123 yards for Anthony Schwartz with 1 touchdown. Seth Williams, 4 receptions, 71 yards. He did not score. Eli Stowe, 5 receptions, 64 yards for a touchdown. And the only other guy receiving for a touchdown is the rookie Xavier Capers. I'm pretty sure he's a rookie. Not a rookie, freshman. But then you look at LSU's stats. They had some guys get receptions. Eric Gilbert, obviously the star 5-star tight end. With 6 receptions for 55 yards, didn't score any touchdowns. The only one who scored a touchdown was Boutte, and he scored 1 touchdown, but he only had 2 receptions for 48 yards. It was Pritchett and Big Cat Bryant getting the picks for Auburn, and they also had a scoop and score. I remember. I forget who that's by. I think it was Tut. Took the scoop and score back for a big score. This defense was just on today. There's no question about it. I thought that LSU's defense was going to show up way better than Auburn's in this game, and boy, was I completely wrong. Auburn was able to just win the turnover battle, and that is a huge, huge, huge thing that you need to win. The turnover battle was 3-1. Auburn won that. Let's just take a look at some of the team stats, because I know third down efficiency was a huge factor in this game. First downs, Auburn had 23 first downs. LSU had 20. Third down efficiency, LSU went 5 for 17, and Auburn went 8 for 13. That right there is the stat of the game, why Auburn was able to win this game. You look at how many times Auburn was able to convert on third down and how many times LSU wasn't. That's a huge margin. That is a huge reason why they were able to win this game. Rushing, again, 32 rushing yards for LSU, 206 for Auburn. passing 315 yards for LSU, and Auburn only passed for 300. So LSU wins the passing game, but again, it's that rushing game that just absolutely dominated for Auburn today. What are the next steps for Auburn now? Because you have 2 losses, but you're on a mini winning streak here. You beat Ole Miss, you beat LSU, you go on to play in Mississippi State next week, who Mississippi State is a decent team. They've been struggling lately, so that's definitely a winnable game for Auburn. Where do you go from here? You got to keep this defensive consistency up. Bo Nix has to keep playing like this, and I predict that you're going to finish the season. Obviously, beating Bama this year, it's going to be a stretch because they are a very good team, especially offensively. But you know what? If this offense can keep playing this good, who knows what's going to happen. So they have Mississippi State, then Tennessee, then Alabama, then Texas A&M coming up. So a pretty good slate coming up. They finished the season with against arguably the 2 best teams in the SEC West, or in my opinion, who are going to be the 2 toughest teams for them to play in the SEC West. Looking at LSU's next games, they got a bye week, and then they go into the Alabama game. Huge game. Is LSU going to be able to compete with Alabama? From what I've seen so far, Alabama is the hottest team in college football. Clemson played terrible today. Alabama is the best team in college football right now, in my opinion. How is LSU's defense going to be able to match up against them, and how is LSU's offense going to be able to produce against an Alabama defense who is slowly starting to figure themselves out? Then they go to Arkansas, then they go to Texas A&M, then they play Mississippi, then they go to Florida. It's a tough stretch for LSU coming up. No question about it. They have to start finding some just players to make plays. It's so hard to find for them, especially on the defensive side of the ball. I just feel like they need a guy to step up. They need to win the turnover battle, and they need to start scoring on defense if this team wants to be able to beat some of these higher class SEC teams coming up. So it was a great game. Auburn obviously taking the win here by a good margin. Lots to learn for LSU, but lots of good stuff that we saw from Auburn today and how competitive they are going to be for the rest of the season. So thank you for watching this video, guys. Definitely like the video, definitely comment down below, and come back next time.